Hi, everybody. I want to welcome you to tonight's webinar with Reed Davis. For everybody that's taken my corporate wellness class training or who's in it right now, you know what a huge advocate I am, that I've taken this training myself in 2007. It helped change my health, my life, my immunity, and it helps me in business as well by bringing it into companies. So I just want to give you a little bit of background on Reed before I hand this over to him. Reed is a certified nutritional therapist and founder of the Functional Diagnostic Nutrition, FDN, certification course. Reed is known as one of the most successful and experienced clinicians in the world today, having provided functional lab assessments to over 10,000 clients for hormone levels, adrenal function, digestive problems, immune system, and detoxification issues, as well as being able to test for infections, infestations, food sensitivities, and many related health problems. His system of natural holistic protocols are now known the world over and have helped thousands of people to regain their health. Reed has served as health director and case manager at the Better Health and Wellness Center in Poway, California for over 15 years, and now teaches a course in functional lab work and holistic lifestyle coaching, which has had over 1,500 trainees in 50 countries. He's also a clinical advisor at BioHealth Laboratory, where he helps clinicians interpret lab results and develop natural protocols to restore function instead of just treating the symptoms, which we all know is just putting a Band-Aid on something much bigger. Reed lives in Southern California, teaching the FDN certification course and helping FDN course graduates build robust private pay practices. So, Reed, I really want to welcome you tonight to this call, to the webinar. Thank you for your time and sharing this information. Everybody on this call this evening and who's listening to the replay afterwards are all in this field, whether they are working privately with clients or they're working in the corporate market, working with many at one time.
Randi, thank you so much. It's really a pleasure to be here. We want to respect everyone's time and get right down to the material. Again, I just want to say thank you. And if I can help you and the audience to help others, then my purpose is served, and that's not a bad thing. So we're going to talk about filling the needs gap and how to make sure you never lose a client again. Unless they die on you, that's not a good thing. that happens. They just old age and stuff. I'm just thinking, it occurred to me. No, you shouldn't lose clients. And this is for you if you are a personal trainer, nutritionist, if you're doing corporate wellness as a health coach or any kind of therapist, alternative practitioner. We also have a lot of chiropractors, acupuncturists take our course. And so if you have clients, but they're not reaching their goals or not enough of their goals, even if they're following your program and they still have unresolved health complaints, what we don't want is them seeking help elsewhere right away. You want to expand your program, right? So if they're seeking help elsewhere, you're losing clients, and you always have to find new ones to replace them. Well, that makes you have to be a great marketer rather than just a great helper. And so that's not the most fun part of our business. So I've identified some ways that you can change all that. Most people just say, Reed, I'm not sure what it is, or something's missing. I can't put my finger on it, but I really need to improve my practice. And so what you're going to learn tonight are some keys to success. They will help any business, no matter what your practice is. You must end the cycle of trial and error that people are stuck in. And even we as practitioners get stuck in that cycle of trial and error. And we certainly can't pass it on to our clients, or we're going to lose them. So you must fill the needs gap, and I'll identify that for you. You actually have to get people better. Your protocols have to work, and they should be unique and set you apart from the next guy. And you need credibility and the confidence to deal with any health problem, because today's health problems are just so widespread. Chronic stress-related disorders are everywhere, and I guarantee you one thing, you're never going to run out of clients, people to work with. So you're going to learn this and hopefully some other things. Now, this cycle of trial and error, and Randi, you can jump in any time. I tend to talk pretty fast and keep moving. I'll try to pause slightly at the end of a slide or something like that, but you feel free to interrupt me. And the cycle begins usually with people with this statement, everything looks normal. So people do go to physicians a lot because they have a complaint, and yet their blood work, it looks normal. And my question would be, Randi, if your blood work looks normal, does that mean your problems are on your head? Of course, the answer is no.
No.
Yeah, I mean, but haven't you heard that before?
Absolutely. People start to think that it's psychological when their doctor says everything looks fine.
Yeah, it's the most common thing, and that starts the cycle. So we know, though, that headaches, they're not a sign of aspirin deficiency. There's an underlying cause. Fatigue is not proof that your house needs more caffeine in it. Sleeplessness is not a sign of ambient scarcity. Brain fog, is that because you don't have enough antidepressants, or maybe, so none of these things are true. Symptoms really aren't the problem. They are the result of a problem, which we know is an underlying dysfunction. So this is not, by the way, to say it's us versus them. Like, doctors do a great job. They save lives every day. They meet needs. So if you have a bone sticking out of your arm bleeding because you just you fall off your bike, you don't call your nutritionist. You go see a doctor. If you have cancerous tumors growing out of your face, you'd go see a physician. There's really important needs that physicians fill, but there's a needs gap that I'm going to show you. So this cycle of trial and error starts here with everything looks normal. And you can see on the left there, people come out of their doctor's visits feeling down, like, hey, he said there's no drugs and surgery for me, or he said here's some drugs for you, but you don't want to take them. So what do? What do your clients do? They go to find someone else, and they might start a new diet program or exercise program or some sort of therapy that someone's out there selling, and you might be one of these people. And it's basically trial and error and a lot of money. They're investing a ton of money. And if that diet program doesn't work, what do? They move on to the next one, diet or exercise. Someone says, oh, I've got a new thing. It's the latest and greatest. Try it and see if it helps. And people will do that one. And then, so they get caught in this cycle. So that's the cycle of trial and error. And what drives that cycle is that each one is not meeting the person's needs, or not enough of their needs, usually the need to really get healthy and to really work on the underlying cause, but obviously it's not meeting enough needs. Now, if this isn't you, if your diet, exercise, and therapy meets everyone's needs and it's perfect, and you're the last person they have to see, well, that's great. Then you probably could shine on this webinar. But for everyone else, including me and what I was stuck in, this would be a great place for you to pay attention. So the cycle of trial and error starts with, one thing after you're trying all these different things and you're spending a lot of money, your clients are, and it's because they may meet some of the person's needs, but not enough. So diet, that's critical. And for those of you who are doing diet, I'm sure you're doing a great job. What we do is we figure out the exact diet for each person, and we subtract their food sensitivities, which we always test for, and that's a good thing, but it doesn't meet enough needs in a lot of cases. Same thing with exercise. There's great exercise programs out there. I'm sure you guys are introducing people to the fact that they have to exercise, and that's absolutely true. So keep up the good work. But we know there's also a lot of very fit, unhealthy people. Randi, you know people that look good, they're in New York, but they're not really healthy?
Absolutely. It happens every day. Just because you might look thin on the outside doesn't mean the inside matches.
It's amazing how messed up some skinny people are.
Yeah.
you know.
I was one of them years ago until I learned.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And so then therapies, this covers a broad range of physical therapy, aromatherapy. These are all good things, but they certainly don't meet enough or all the needs. And that's why people stay stuck in that cycle of they're trying one more thing. And this is what frustrated me when I began in 1998, so a long time ago, as a nutritional therapist, and I became the case manager, ended up really running the whole place. I was frustrated because I was losing clients. After 1 to 3 months, they kind of quit coming in. They quit taking their supplements, buying their supplements. Matter of fact, I felt like a vitamin salesman, which was very dissatisfactory. There was a lot of dead ends. Some people got a little better and said thanks. Other people just kind of disappeared. And I realized that it was not filling the client's real needs. Now, that was a long time ago. I was younger and better looking then, as you could see. But what I realized, I was stuck in the cycle of trial and error along with my patients at the clinic, or my clients. So there's doctors there, there's chiropractic acupuncture, there's massage, there's beauty treatments, all kinds of things. And I had to manage each case, and it got really tough because there just wasn't something I could walk them through that would really fix their problem. And what they were saying to me, and if you've ever heard this before, you know what I'm talking about. And Randy, I know you have. People say, I've already seen 5 people, or I've already seen 8 people. I've already spent $12,000 or something like that. And I decided I was going to be the last person that they had to see. And that, Randy, is what began me on my journey. And I brought my research and writing skills that I brought from the law background. I was actually in environmental law. So I brought this honest research ability and intent to the nutrition business. And I said, I'm going to actually try to figure out what's wrong with people. So I did an awful lot of trial and error for you guys, identified this needs gap, and I learned how to fill it. And that way, really all you have to do is duplicate it. Now, I'll tell you a little bit more about the FDN program at the end. I really want you to try to pick up some good tips before we get to that part. And there is a special offer for Randy's listeners. So you want to stick around and see what you can pick up tonight. So there's this cycle of trial and error because needs aren't being met. And I call that the needs gap. And it has to be filled if you're going to stop the cycle. So people come off their last, whatever it was, diet, exercise, therapy. They tried another thing. Okay, now they come to you. You're the 10th person or whatever. And to fill that gap, you need to stop chasing the symptoms and work on causes. They may have heard that before, but I'm going to show you exactly how it really works and how you can do it as a non-licensed practitioner. You don't have to be a physician and all that. You can learn to do it on your own. And that way you'll fill the gap. You can identify the hidden stressors and conditions, what they really need to fix, what they really need to repair, rebuild, restore. It's function. And get the client to work on what's really wrong by adopting a self-care model that actually works. Not just another fad, not just one more diet or exercise or therapy thing, but a step-by-step behavior, a self-care model, we call it. And so that's how we get results. That's how we fill the gap and stop that cycle. And people will come to you. You will not be losing clients like you were before, if that's your problem. And they'll be referring people to you. It's a great way to grow your business. So let's take a look first. So that's the problem. We kind of identified the cycle of trial and error and that there's this huge gap. And now we're going to talk about how to fill it. And so the people are coming to you and me, Randy, with chronic stress-related complaints. And by the way, folks, my staff member Jen is on the phone or webinar here with us too. She's going to be monitoring the chat box if you have questions. And usually we wait to the end to answer those. But I think you could put something in there, and Jen, you can butt in anytime too. But let's all really realize what the deal is. We're facing chronic stress-related complaints. People aren't coming to a wellness coach or health nutritionist or personal trainer, these kind of things, with Ebola. With that, they go to the emergency room. Or again, they're bleeding out of some part of their body. It's like you go see a doctor. But everything else is fair game for us. Everything else. No matter what their previously diagnosed condition is. All these things listed here, which I won't go through, but they're very, very common. And Randy, I know you see these things every day. So the truth is, you can make people better. Just another part of that success formula. People want to know these 3 things. No matter what they're saying to you, they may not say it in these exact words, but this is what I figured out in an office working for 15 years as the head patient educator. They might start complaining, they might start telling you a history, but it gets down to this. They want to know, do you know what's really wrong with me? They've got the same story. They're tired of the runaround. All their traditional practitioners do is treat symptoms or manage symptoms. And so you've got to be able to say, yes, I know what's really wrong with you. It's specific malfunctions and interferences. And can you help me? That's the other thing. No matter what they're saying, they're asking you, do you know what's wrong with me? And can you help me? Well, yeah. we've developed this health detective system that Randi uses every day in her practice, and it identifies the healing opportunities so that the person can restore normal function and health will return. So can we help you? Absolutely yes. If you're willing to do our work, we can help you. And have we helped others like you? Because they do want to know that you're not their first client. And what we found, well, personally, I've helped over 10,000 people with Randi. It's actually closer to 2,000 trainees or graduates now in 50 countries. We've helped
Wow.
tens of, yeah, it's the family's really growing, and we've helped tens of thousands of people. And what I tell our new graduates is that you can just borrow from our success. Have you helped others like me? Absolutely. The system I use has helped thousands and thousands of people. You need to lean on that and trust that for a while. But let me just step back to where you might be right now. If you can't say yes to all these questions, you probably have a problem with retention of your clients. They're sort of trying your thing, and then it's working a little bit. They might even appreciate it, but they're still going on to someone else for their deeper issues. So you need to be able to say yes. And that's going to require, this is where I really hope you guys get some paradigms changes, or at least understand the way your clients need to see things. What they need is a new way of looking at disease. So there's this big organ up in your skull, and it's what allows you to think. What's that called?
I would say our brain.
Okay, now the brain is there, and it is connected to the body through nerves and through blood and through energy. So the body communicates with the brain, and every cell in your body already knows what its function is. You don't have to teach any cells in your body their job, do you? And so let me ask you this, Randi. If your brain and body are communicating perfectly and you are operating the way you're designed, we truly believe that you're designed well. The intelligence is in the cells. They all know what their job is. And your body, therefore, should be in a state of ease, also known as homeostasis. Randi, would you be healthy if all your cells and organs and systems were functioning normally in a state of ease?
100%.
100%. That's what a healthy person looks like. But is that how they show up in our office or on the phone or when they're sitting there? No, it's not. They come with symptoms. But how can a body that's functioning perfectly normally in a state of ease have symptoms? Well, we know therefore, and this is what I want everybody to really get, is that there must be lack of ease, a dis-ease process, and that's where the word disease comes from. And that could only happen if there's malfunction. So the important part here, one of them, is that symptoms are last. If you have symptoms, they come as a result of something. There's something on, especially these chronic stress-related conditions, all the things we talked about with energy and sleep and libido and weight gain and all the issues around skin and things like that, the chronic stress-related conditions, that's just the symptom, which are very common, but please don't let anyone tell you that's normal. So symptoms are the, yep.
There's so many people come to me and say, I know that I'm going to hit menopause, so I've got to gain weight, or I know I'm supposed to be tired as I get older, and
Yeah.
I think people are conditioned to think that's what's supposed to happen, and it's just the opposite. I feel.
Randi, I've had people tell me their migraines were normal. Well, I've got migraines, but they're normal. The doctor says they're normal migraines. Like, what? There's this thing. I know a lady who had some trouble with her periods, and she was only 42 years old, but the doctor told her that's normal, and here's some pills, and take them around your period, and if they don't work, then we'll just do a hysterectomy. This is perfectly normal.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like hysterectomies are normal at 42. So don't let anyone tell you that symptoms are normal. They are not. Symptoms are a sign something's wrong. But people come in really just wanting some relief. So, we have to educate them sometimes. Look, we can give you some relief. There's definitely some supplements you could take, or there's, with doctors, it's prescription medicine. Doctors also would use surgery if that doesn't work, as we just kind of described. But, and actually, as you see, symptoms went away. But, did anything get fixed? No, the body's still in a state of disease. The body still got malfunctions, and we know that means something's wrong. There's no normal symptom. So if you only do relief care, the symptoms will either come back, sometimes with a vengeance, or appear as new symptoms. So we focus instead on the underlying causes of disease while providing some intelligent relief care. There's nothing wrong with giving someone something or telling them what to do to feel a little bit better for right now, but you want to work on the disease and malfunction. That means handling the stressors that are at the causal level, whether it be mental, emotional, the way you perceive things, biomechanical trauma, like physical things, like old accidents where you hurt your neck and the nerves are all screwed up and that kind of stuff. But what we tend to specialize in is the biochemical physiological stressors, and they're basically hidden from us. It's all the stuff going on inside the body. And we use our lab work and we focus on the healing opportunities. What can we identify as something to work on? And that will allow us to help the body to regain normal function. Now look what happens there. See normal function. What happens? The body returns to a state of ease. Symptoms basically just go away. Health is restored, and complaints are often permanently resolved, Randy. And you've seen this because you took the FDN course a long time ago. When you work this way, it's almost miraculous sometimes. People will say, well, my doctor told me I had fibromyalgia, or my doctor told me I had chronic fatigue syndrome, or my doctor told me I had something else. And even some of those medically diagnosed cases are completely resolved if you know what to do, which steps to take.
Right.
And so that's a new way of looking at disease, where we see symptoms are the last thing to appear, and you have to work at the causal level. Now, don't let this slide scare you, folks, and hang in there real well, because what's wrong with us is what's going on inside our body. Now, I call it metabolic chaos. There's just different influences, and it can cascade throughout the body, causing symptoms to appear in different places for different people. So you and I might have the same initiating circumstances. It could be the same environment, the same air we breathe, we're eating the same foods, we live in the same neighborhood, the same amount of electromagnetic frequency, all this different stuff. We might just eat the wrong foods. So if you look at the top left, we see glucose homeostasis. So that means blood sugar levels. And if you eat poorly and your blood sugar levels are going up and down and up and down, that will eventually affect cell energetics and the way your body metabolizes carbohydrates. Now, when you start messing that up, what you see are these two pointed arrows. The arrows have points on both ends. So, but that will go in and contribute to metabolic chaos in the body, won't it? Absolutely. And that could manifest in a person if you go out to the lower right-hand side into poor endocrine function. Your hormones start getting messed up. It could, in one person, be more thyroid. They end up with constipation, they got gaining weight, they're fatigued, they got the blues, they got cold extremities, they could have swelling ankles, their hair could be thinning. Those are the symptoms associated with poor thyroid and poor endocrine function. But in another person, it's the ovarian hormones. It could be their periods, their extra bleeding or not the same bleeding, or they get anovulatory, they become infertile, things like that. And so what I'm trying to get at is that the symptoms are way on the outside. They don't really matter much. It's what are the contributors to metabolic chaos, and then the resultant dysfunctions in the body. And so you start to see that, wow, everything's connected. So the same thing, if you have these various issues, look at the top right-hand side. Quality of sleep and mood, brain fog and cloudy thinking, memory and learning. Well, there's lots of supplements you could take to just try to deal with them there. Or you can start to straighten your entire physiology out and look at metabolic chaos. And there are very specific tests that you could run kind of in order to map that out. So this is the information that's really needed, that a professional who wants to stop the cyclotron error, fill the needs gap, and not lose their clients to someone down the road, this is the information you need to get them to transform. And so a simpler way of looking at it is this. and we know this exists, the stress cascade. Hidden stressors and imbalances, wherever they are in one area of the body, if not soon resolved, cascade into other areas, other cells, other tissues, other organs, other systems, and simply stated, it's metabolic chaos that ensues, causing dysfunction, enhancing dysfunction areas, leading to dis-ease, and then the symptoms are the last thing. And so that's the ball game. What do we want to do? We'll tell you in a second. What we want to do is look at the cascade upstream. We want to start sort of almost ignoring the symptoms and looking upstream. And this is the series of labs that I discovered over a long period of time, testing thousands and thousands of people. I ran labs that I shouldn't even have been running. And it's not just running labs that matters, but you do need to run some. So our tests that I've identified over the years identified the real healing opportunities and the blocking factors within the hormone, immune, digestion, detoxification, energy production, and nervous systems. Now that just happily turned out to spell hidden, and it suits me fine. I love acronyms because they're easy for me to remember. So these are the hidden stressors. When you heard me talking about HIDDEN, there you have it. And it's simple. And working at this level is what is at the root of most common health complaints. So all those chronic stress-related disorders will have these things at the root. And another way to look at it might be, getting a balance between, what keeps the body going, we call it vital reserve, and then the metabolic contributors to metabolic chaos. And we test for all of it, and that way you take the guesswork out of it. So this system has filled the gap for thousands and thousands of people. And here's one of the labs that this would actually be the first one. This gives us a snapshot of that adaptive reserve. What you'd like to know about your clients, first of all, is how much do they have left in the tank? What's the vital reserve? What's left? This is a good test for that. Not only that, it gives you all these hormone levels, it guides your therapy initially, and it points to the next level investigation where you should look for the other points of function that need to be repaired. And it provides you a baseline to monitor changes too, so you can keep your clients compliant. This is a simple saliva test 4 times over the course of a day. Neat test. And Randi, if you want, I'll go ahead and show a test result here, just so people get the idea that there's a lot to be gained from doing this.
That'll be great.
Okay. So the first thing you might look at is the cortisol sum. This output here, you see it says 21.1. It's actually quite low. Reference range is 23 to 42. Normal healthy person should probably be higher up in the range. Person who's below reference range is simply tapped out. This is a reflection. And when people see on paper that, look, you're tapped out, your adaptive reserve is diminishing, the vitality of your cells and organs is reduced, and you show it to them on paper, boy, they're thankful. They're going to say, wow, finally someone tested something that tells me I'm not crazy. Because remember, they've been to the physician and been told everything looks normal. Well, here we see on this test, it's not normal. It's very common, but it's not normal. Now, the DHEA is another really important thing, and DHEA actually counteracts cortisol. You need a really good balance between these two things. And so we look at this one, and it looks very, very low, doesn't it?
Yes.
Just grabbing a swallow there. So when you see, now cortisol and DHEA are both made in the adrenal glands. So a lot of people call this adrenal fatigue. I'm not really in favor of that label because it's too much labeling. The truth is that there's a lot of stress. We need to figure out what it is. And it is shutting this person's body down. That's the way you want to look at it. So cortisol is low and DHEA is low. And the cortisol to DHEA ratio is actually high, which means their body's really breaking down. Cortisol is catabolic, meaning it breaks tissue down. Cortisol has to raise blood sugar, right? And that's what it does. So it'll do anything to raise blood sugar. It will eat the meat right off your bones. to raise blood sugar. So it's catabolic. It breaks the body down. You need to balance it with DHEA, which is anabolic. Anabolic steroids are what people take to build their muscle up, for instance. So you have to have this good ratio. This one's very high. It's at least 3 times what it should be. In a person who's, we've already determined, has lost a lot of their vital reserve. So that when you look at that on paper, and you see a lot of your clients are going to fall into this category, and you're explaining it to them, much like I just explained it to you, they are thankful, and they are pretty much ready to do anything you want. Randi, don't you find that test results help you with compliance issues?
Very much so. I find that when people can see something and have some kind of understanding with a good explanation, it makes sense. When you go to a doctor, and not, my opinion is, like you said, doctors have a huge place in this world. They can save lives in every moment.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of doctors are so along the lines of what insurance allows them to do and not do, and they don't have a lot of time, and they also don't have specific training in going deeper. They have almost a chart where if you're having these certain symptoms, this is what we think it is, and let's fix the symptom.
Yeah.
When you can relieve that with your clients coming into you that are complaining over and over and over, and then you can explain what your cortisol is and what it's managing in your body and the DHEA, and show them, well, all of a sudden you have them wanting to be more compliant and on the program. And I hate to say this too, as much as so many people go out there and say, let's change our exercise and eat and everything will get better, it doesn't, because if your body can't absorb the food, digest the food, metabolize everything properly, it doesn't matter how well you eat. So this is so vital for people to understand what else is needed to make all those other fixes work.
That's so true. Exactly how we use tests. You must have done well in the FDN course.
I love it.
Now this is a different test result. It's similar in some ways, but I wanted to go over the morning, noon, afternoon, and nighttime cortisol, as you can see, because one of these things is not like the other, like the old Sesame Street song. Their morning cortisol is actually real low, again showing that depleted, beat up, unable to respond. There's lots of stress. The body is kind of losing that reserve vitality, and they probably feel just like this. It's probably a very slow starter in the morning, can't seem to get out of bed kind of a thing. If they do force themselves, they don't feel very good probably till they take a couple cups of coffee, and they're just really not a happy person, and they're not healthy. And they don't feel like exercising and all that stuff. Now at noon, it's dropping at noon, which it should, and so it's kind of fooling you there that it's in the middle of the range. By afternoon though, it's same thing. It's headed south, and then at nighttime, we see that it's actually elevated above the reference range. Well, that tells you something about this person. Matter of fact, each and every one of these individuals has its own set of symptoms or clues about it. Like the morning cortisol is low here, so they're probably a slow starter and need coffee to even just take a shower kind of a thing. But let's say it was elevated in the morning. Well, that could be a real sharp drop in blood sugar because they've got blood sugar issues. They're not eating the right kind of a snack before bed to stabilize the blood sugar. It's each one offers a lot of clues, and I don't have enough time. That's what we actually teach in the course. We give you all the different ways to sort of look at morning, noon, afternoon, nighttime cortisol, along with the sum, like I said. Now this one here is 27, as you could see. That's more up in the range, but still low for the amount of stress this person's under. Their DHEA is really in the tank, and look at this person's cortisol to DHEA ratio. It's 23.5. It should be a 5 or 6. That's to 1 ratio. So it should be a 5 to 1 ratio, maybe a 6 to 1 ratio. Here's a 23.5 to 1 ratio. What does it tell you? Body breaking down. And what I want to guarantee you is this person will say, thank you. You finally told me it's not in my head and why I am so messed up and what should I do about it. They're going to be kind of begging you, tell me what to do, tell me what to do. And, that's how you get someone to actually do your program, the whole program, and get results. And it's it's great for client retention and referrals. So again, that's the one test result I wanted to show you. There's lots of other tests. Again, this is what we teach. It would take hours and hours and hours to go over each one and all the insights we can get from each test. But it's very important to not just to look at the adrenals and the hormones and adaptive reserve and how much stress and how much you got left in the tank, as we did from that one page previous. You got to look at, well, where's that coming from? Where are the stressors? What are the contributors to metabolic chaos? So we actually, with a simple urine test, do a metabolic assessment. We look at what Randi just mentioned was, well, hey, you got to be breaking down your food and absorbing it. And maybe there's too much toxicity in your body, and you got oxidative stress. You're kind of rotting inside, and part of that catabolic process. And then also, what about detoxification? You can't be healthy if your liver's not functioning at a really high level, and it might be down at 80% or 70%. Well, that's why you feel like 7/10 of a person or worse some of the time. So it's neat to get these markers. We're not diagnosing any specific disease. We're looking at something that if you improve, you're going to function better, you're going to feel better, and you're going to end up looking better. And so it's really important to run these things, in my opinion. That's what I developed my whole system around, was looking at real things that really matter. Forget diagnosing and treating disease. What do we need to fix? Intestinal permeability, leaky gut is really important. Here's another way to look at the intestinal barrier. It's through the antibodies and different things that could be going on there. Immunologically, 70-80% of your immune system is in the gut. So we want to see if it's overactive or underactive or completely destroyed or whatever it might be. And then, of course, pathogens are really important. A lot of people jump to this test. I don't believe in that, just checking for bugs automatically. Even though you might find something, it's much more important to realize, how does this fit into the overall picture? Like, why do they have bugs? A lot of times it's just because their immune system is so down. North of this, in that small intestine, that of course, in the south end here, as we call it, the colon, sure you got bugs. So but it's not enough to just kill them. You've got to really restore the entire system back to health so that you don't get them again, and your body can protect you on its own. Now, another great contributor, this is an amazing contributor to metabolic chaos, and it's different in every person. I've never seen 2 food intolerance tests come back the same. Now, some people have more intolerances than others, but everyone seems to have a few, and some people, man, you can hit home runs with this. You can really, when you reduce the foods, when you get them on the right diet and reduce foods they're intolerant to, they're very sensitive to these foods. We can check them for 150 foods. This does require a blood draw, but it's something that they need to do if they want to really clean up their diet. And we've had great results with that. Getting them on the right foods is amazing.
Personally, I would say it's life-changing.
Well, I've had some of my best miracles with that one test. I don't like to run one test. That's kind of crapshooting. It's really kind of guessing. And well, you can become a good guesser. The idea is to be able to run all of these and do comprehensive assessments so that you're really working at that causal level, because things are just multifactorial. So not only do we have a comprehensive intake, let's look at the next page here. We have a comprehensive way. You saw the circles chart, which I know is a little confusing, but you can run labs and find out where the dysfunctions are in those areas. What are the contributors to metabolic chaos? That way you're working with the bottom of the iceberg there on the left instead of the symptoms. So there's symptoms, and they're important. That's what brings clients in the office, why they raise their hand. Yeah, I want to work with you. But it's the chronic stress-related dysfunction that it's caused by metabolic chaos, that are part and parcel of metabolic chaos. That's the level you want to work at. And so that's how you stop the cycle of trial and error. That's what the missing, that's what fills the gap, if you will. I mean, that's what's missing, is people looking at things this way. So we uncover those hidden stressors and dysfunctions. And then step 2, after the assessment, and people do our comprehensive lab work, they do all our intakes. Obviously, we have to have history. You got to know what their complaints are, how long they've been going on, and lots of things like that. Lots of history and forms and testing. Then, and I believe only then, can you design a program that meets their needs. So FDN helps clients build health. How? It meets a wide variety of their needs. Now, again, I love my acronyms, okay? So DRESS, it would just only take one hand to spell it out if you labeled each finger. And it's diet, rest, exercise, stress reduction, and supplements. You can customize a program, and where we would help you the most, where the lab work comes in, diet certainly is important. Why they're not resting is important. Why they feel so crappy after exercise is revealed by our intake. And then really critically is the stress reduction, whether it be external stressors, internal stressors. You really have that dialed in. And of course supplements. And I don't own a supplement company. I don't have my own brand. I don't care where people buy things. But I know a few things about supplements, and always want to point people in the right direction and have them use things that are actually really helpful and pure and good. So that's part of our program too. And so,
You know what's very interesting, Rita, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but when you say stress reduction, I also find that so many people that I work with have no comprehension that physical stress or internal stress even exists. People associate stress with what's going on mentally in their life or fighting or
Yeah.
emotions. They don't think about it as what they're doing physically, eating, allergies, any of that stuff as having a stress reaction on their body.
absolutely, that's so true. And we see on test results that a person's under stress, like a lot of it. And you ask them about stress, and they go, "Oh, my life isn't so stressful. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I've only got 6 kids, and I got whatever." So and you start telling them, "Look, it's not that kind of stress. I mean, we're happy for you, but that you don't have a mental emotional stress, but you've got parasites, bacteria, funguses, viruses, overgrowth in biofilms. You've got maldigestion, malabsorption. Your hormones are unbalanced. You've got food sensitivities. You got chemicals in your environment. The wrong care products, the wrong cleaning products. You got things going on. So you start adding all that up, and people start getting the idea, wow, stress is anything that contributes to metabolic chaos. You have to identify as many stressors as you can that are contributing to this person's metabolic chaos, the things going wrong in the body, and which is producing the symptoms. So it's a huge area, and you're right, Randy. It's a lot of education, but we have the education, we have the materials, we have exactly what to say and how to walk people through that. And by the same token, I know the time is going fast here, but I want to say that a lot of people we see that they have a lot of stress on the test results, as I just said, same thing, and they admit, well, yeah, I hate my job, I just got divorced, and it's been going on a long time, and so stuff. So they'll admit to some mental emotional stress, and what you can see from the test results is that it can't be just that. In other words, they will admit to those things, say, yeah, I know I need to fix some of that stuff, but it's never just that. It's always also something hidden and internal. And we've just seen that, and it's been proven over and over again from the patterns we see. So dress for health.
I was just saying, for all the people on the phone, that just makes FDN that much more valuable, because I know you're coming from all different backgrounds, education. Some people are doing it a long time, some recently, but you learn so much here on a deeper level to really understand the body that you may not have been taught in the past. So not only are you filling a needs gap for your potential clients, you're filling a needs gap for yourselves and your own education and understanding of the body.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because everyone does do the work on themselves first. And you'll get your own customized Dress for Health Success program if you want to become an FDN practitioner. And it's a great holistic grounding program when client also needs medical oversight. So this system itself takes care of a huge number of those chronic stress-related conditions. But let's say a person does have cancer when they need to be seeing a doctor, and you should always encourage them to stick with their oncologist. Like you are kind of legally bound and morally bound to say, yeah, you want to do what your doctor says, but guess what? If you want to lay the DRESS principles on top of that, it can only help. Yeah. And you might need less medical care. Especially some of these things like people are chronic thyroid and chronic irritable bowel. I mean, they're truly diagnosed with some serious things, and yet we find they need the more DRESS they do according to our standards and our program and protocols based on our lab work, the less of that stuff they have to do. This Dress for Health Success program is so successful we had to trademark it so that only our FDN graduates can use it. And then so step one was to run the labs and do our intake. Step two was customize a program. And I wanted to go into a little more detail here, but we're running out of time. I just want to tell you our DRESS program is what works, it's what sets us apart, it's what gives you the confidence to handle any problem that you're going to come across. And step three is a transformational process. You can't just say, okay, here's my recommendations, have a good time with that, let me know how it works out. You got to walk people through. You got to know a step-by-step program that's going to actually have them adopt those behaviors, because behavior change is what it's all about. DRESS isn't easy for everybody. Some people, yeah, sure, man, they just Monday morning, boom, I'm going to start with this new program. Other people struggle a bit, especially if they're busy. And so, and if they haven't had results with other programs. So we have a transformational process that they can get through much more easily. And one of the most important things about it is this course correction. So you see the picture of the sailboat here? I grew up sailing on the Great Lakes with my dad, and there's no such thing as pick a point on the other side of the lake and sail towards it. You got to sail left and then right, and then left and right. You're zigzagging over to your destination. You change course. You correct the course by tacking and coming about, is what they say in sailing. Why? Because the wind is different, the water currents are different, boats are all different, and so there's just no power boating to health. You've got to know how to correct course, and that's what our process allows you to do. Whether it's just really being honest with your client, or them being really honest with you and getting that, and then sometimes we have to investigate a little deeper and these kind of things. So it's really a neat process, and it's what makes us successful. It's what's going to keep those clients with you for a long, long time, actually until they're better, because they're not done until they're better. And again, I appreciate your patience as we went through the green screen there, but what we hope that you learned or got at least a clue about today. Obviously on a 1-hour webinar it's tough to just give you everything you need to know, but you looked at what is the cyclotron error, and hopefully understand that you better be able to stop it, and that you stop it by filling the needs gap. There are unmet needs. So we, over a 15-year period, have managed to learn to meet an awful lot of needs of people. And that's how we actually get them better. And of course, the Dress for Health Success program not only gets them better, but it's unique. It will separate you from other practitioners. And it gives you a lot of credibility and confidence to deal with any health problem. And if that doesn't give you the confidence, I'm going to explain some more things about the kind of community. And so, Randy, I think we covered a lot of ground. We went over a lot of labs. We went over the needs gap and things. I'm ready for Q&A anytime, but right before I do, what I want to do is have you folks who might be thinking, well, I already run labs, or I know someone who runs labs, I'm working with this person or that person, it might be a licensed practitioner, and they can run labs, those kind of things. Well, other experts run labs, but I want to tell you, most of them are doing it based on symptoms, and then they're treating the test results. They're not really working with the underlying problems as deep as they possibly could be. And so, I get asked this all the time. Hey, I got a person with this problem. What lab should I run? Well, you just went through this whole webinar. You should be able to say, boy, there's there's the HIDDEN. There's all those contributors to metabolic chaos. There's all those underlying causes and conditions and reasons why the symptoms may pop up. And the symptoms are going to pop up in one person one way, and another person another set of symptoms. Well, it's the underlying conditions that I need to straighten out. So which lab wouldn't you run? We try to run 5 labs on every person, and it's a very specific HIDDEN type of thing. So what I want to ask you about these people who say, well, I already run labs, is are they ending the cycle, or are they really just starting another cycle? So here's an example of how test results can be sort of, in my opinion, misused. Randy, you might jump in here. If I was going to ask you, like, what if someone had weight gain, they can't maintain a healthy weight, low energy and fatigue, ice cold hands and feet, dry skin, hair loss, brain fog, tingling in hands, feet, swelling in ankles and things. Constipation's a huge, very common with people with this condition. Does that sound like something to you?
Yeah, all of those things jump off the page at me as a potential thyroid issue.
That's exactly right. And so most physicians or people running labs, they got enough wherewithal and they're saying, oh, it sounds like thyroid, I'm going to run a thyroid test. So sure enough, they run the thyroid test and yep, pat yourself on the back, you found low thyroid output. Well, from that circles chart where the metabolic chaos is in the middle, the thyroid output, low thyroid output, is just a symptom. It's just something in the mix that goes with these symptoms. Yeah, it does go with these symptoms. But I wouldn't pat myself in the back real hard. What if that low thyroid output is from other contributors to metabolic chaos? I want to tell you that in most cases of anyone with thyroid that I've worked with, many more than half, almost I'd say 2/3 of them, there's nothing wrong with their thyroid. It's the contributors to metabolic chaos just resulting in low thyroid output. But nonetheless, that doesn't stop most practitioners. That sounds like thyroid, they run their thyroid test. Yep, low thyroid output. They prescribe something that's going to bring the test results back into range. That's why I call it treating the test results instead of the person. They bring the test results in range. Here's your product. Now, by the way, there are natural products as well as prescription products that will help to boost thyroid levels in your blood. So you could just give someone thyroid and that'll bring the test results up. Well, that's just trading the paper, like I said. And then the same people will monitor the test results, which is a smart thing to do because you don't want to be over thyroid. Hyperthyroid is just as bad as hypo or worse. So you have to monitor test results and then titrate accordingly. Titrate means to adjust the dosage to keep the levels in range. What are they doing? They're treating the paper. And then some symptoms may even abate, go away, which is a good thing. Remember, this is kind of a symptom removal stick, what you know already is that if that's all you do, symptom removal, the underlying causes will deteriorate. That metabolic chaos gets worse, and the symptoms will come back as the thyroid gets worse, and you'll need to up your medication. Or, this is the trick, new symptoms appear. I went over that in the brain-body diagram, that new way of looking at disease. I mentioned that symptoms will come back with a vengeance, or they will appear as new symptoms. Now, where this new cycle of trial and error is being created is in doing testing this way. So, that sounds like thyroid. Yep, pat myself in the back. I guessed right. It's low thyroid output. Here's your prescription. And come back and we'll monitor and make sure that we're getting that just in the right range there. And people actually often might feel better. But as the underlying causes deteriorate, if new symptoms appear, what would that same practitioner do? Let's say it come back as, now it's my periods are off and I'm bleeding heavily. And so what would they do? They would run a new test just for that one thing, pat themselves on the back again when they found the high estrogen or low testosterone or whatever, and write you another prescription. So what they're really doing is running test after test, and it's a new cycle of trial and error. And people will get sick of seeing that person too, and they'll go to a new doctor. So they're losing patients and clients too. And it's because they are misusing testing, at least in my opinion. So I wanted to know, so I'm showing you there that just because you can run labs doesn't mean you're always going to be doing the right thing in our world. And speaking of that, what is our world? Well, it's pretty much trying to create a business where you help people, you work for yourself, you stand out from the crowd, you feel appreciated by your clients, and they show it to you. We all like to have a flexible schedule. Randi, would you say most people that you know that might be listening are pretty much self-employed, want to work for themselves, have flexible schedule, these kind of things?
Absolutely. I think that's why most people get into this business. It's a twofold. You have information that you want to help other people, and you also want to, enhance your own life and work for yourself.
Yeah, so we all want these things to help people and to feel appreciated and to get and stay in great shape. Remember, you got to walk the talk. And first and foremost in FDN, we have you run labs on yourself. We give you a dress protocol. We help you follow that protocol. Why? So that you can simply duplicate it with other people and make as much money as you want doing what you love. Now, if you want a little more information about that, and Randi, you've never seen this particular webinar. We've done webinars before, but what we want to also tell people is, how do you get that dream practice? We need to up your value. You need to be worth more. Most personal trainers are making $50 or $60 an hour. I pay mine $50 an hour. I buy 10 sessions at a time, and I've been doing that 3 days a week for the last 3-4 years, since I really started to fine-tune my walk and the talk. And what I'm saying is that, I keep telling my trainer, you need to take my course, you'll make a lot more money. You should be getting at least $1,500 a person. And Jen, you're listening in here. Jen is one of my graduates. You graduated, a couple years ago? What do you think of that $1,500 per person for a simple 90-day program? Is that reasonable?
I actually charge more than that. So I think it's definitely reasonable.
Well, I'm glad to hear it, because I think it's an absolute minimum. And what you learned, you probably didn't charge what you're charging now at first, though, right? I mean, did you start off a little bit lower and then?
Yeah, I definitely started off a little bit lower. I think just above maybe the 1,500, and I've slowly increased it over time as I've built my reputation and credibility with people.
Yeah.
And just having more confidence and being able to charge more with my skills and knowledge, and the program definitely gave me that confidence for sure.
Fantastic. So Jen is maybe a little above average. I mean, I think you are, Jen. That's why you work for me now, because Jen really stood out from the crowd and that. But some people might start a little bit lower. But the bottom line is, you can charge a lot when you know how to end the cycle of trial and error. You'll need less clients to make more money. So you can save them a lot of money. You can get a lot of referrals. You're going to save them money by ending that cycle. So while you might be $1,500 just to get going, they're going to be happy to spend it, and it's going to save them, working with 3, 4, 5 other people and spending $1,000 with all of them. So there's no such thing as a stress-free practice, because, let's face it, the world's busy and we have to work hard. But it can be as close to stress-free as possible when you're actually helping people, you're ending the cycle of trial and error, and you're not having to always scrounge for new clients, because you're burning them out. They're only sticking with you a month or something like that. That's sort of, we want to get way past that. And another kind of rule on this.
Sorry, Reed. I was going to say, you could take this a step further for people on the phone. Not only can you have, we talk about pricing all the time, and your confidence in your skills and what your time is worth and what your results are worth to people. But you can take knowledge like this and package it into a program when you go into corporations as well, and create maybe an executive package where you're working with the top salespeople in every division along with the C-suite. And now think about what that package might look like.
Oh, it's amazing. You could do group coaching. I mean, all of this is designed for distance coaching. You see the FDN practitioner on her Skype there, actually. Just using her headset, talking to people over Skype or the phone. So you can do this out of your home if you wanted to. But another rule on the street that I want to go is that less than 3 clients should pay for any course, and this is exactly what we're going into next. There's only a few more slides, folks, so please hang in here and wait for. I have a special gift for Randy's friends. You could decide what you want to make a month, and then that would pretty much tell you how many FDN clients you'd need. So if you want, now that's at 1,500. Like you heard Jen say, she's higher than that. I actually have some licensed practitioners, chiropractors, who are charging $5,000 for the exact same program. What they're doing is FDN straight up, step 1, run the lab, step 2, design a dress protocol, step 3, give them a transformational plan and work them through it. And it's easy for chiropractors who are seeing them once a week for adjustments to do that. So, you want it, but at $1,500, the minimum amount, if you wanted to make $4,500 more per month, you'd only need 3 clients. Now, I know you can get 3 clients, and actually in the course, I'll show you how to get 3 real quick and real easy every month. But if you wanted to make more, you would just get more clients, and you can make $100,000 a year doing FDN, and you wouldn't have to do anything else. If you kind of don't like your day job, this would be a good one for you. Doing something you love and having some free time and all that sort of stuff. So is that a good investment? I think so. If you get this new set of skills, you're investing in yourself, and it's paid for by your first 3 clients or less. That's a good investment. Now we've had thousands of, almost 2,000 people take the FDN course, and we have well over 1,000 graduates in close to 50 countries. And this was one. If you wanted to actually watch her testimonial, and she looks happy to me, she's someone that says, "I like to dig deeper, know all the hows and whys. FDN's perfect. Now I can work on the causes." Her testimonial is on our website. Same thing with this lady, who was a massage therapist and holistic coach. She was absolutely thrilled to find the FDN course. Now I work on the root causes instead of treating just symptoms. Sounds familiar? My good buddy Sean Croxton, a lot of you know, is a personal trainer and FDN practitioner, swears that FDNs would turn his business around from being a nutritionist, personal trainer, into a true health coach. And so it changed his life. And says it's one of the best decisions he ever made in his whole career. And so lots of other things. What I'm trying to do here, just before I get to the end, is let you know that you can have that confidence that you're going to be able to handle any health problem when you know you're part of a community, which we have a very strong community, and weekly contact, call-in show every week. There's hundreds of shows archived by subject. You can listen to hundreds of hours of additional training if you want. That's not required. The mentors are just amazingly caring, beautiful, and professional people who I've trained. Some have been with me for 6-7 years, so we know our stuff. We can walk you through this. The course is amazing. You'll get 10 hours of personal one-on-one time along with all the lessons. And that's by appointment. There's no set schedule. We're really highly sought after by the top people in the profession. Doctors are saying amazing things about us, including our own medical director. He thinks there should be one FDN practitioner for every 3 doctors. That means a hospital with 1,000 doctors would have 333 FDNs working there. Now, wouldn't that be a miracle? Or something to work towards. In my lifetime, I'd like to see something like that. And then, you need to qualify for this. People always ask, what do I need? You need a really strong desire to help people get well. You have to want to start or expand your practice. We have had people convert from other professions into this, or just simply expand your practice. You got to be willing to be a model for what you're selling. You want to walk the talk. My buddy Paul Chek says you can't share it if you don't wear it.
Absolutely.
And you need to recognize the need to invest in your business for it to grow. Obviously, there's time and tuition involved. Nothing else, though. No books to buy. It's all online. And you have to see the cup as half full versus half empty. And if you are that kind of person who sees the world as your apple or your oyster or something, that's our kind of person. We can work with you. And if you have all those criteria, you're going to be successful anyway at everything you do. So we want you to join our team, and we'll help you reach your goals. Matter of fact, if you are a person who's thinking, well, I'm kind of a half-empty person, don't worry. You join too, and we'll turn you around, okay? So, just 2 more slides. Can I run labs in Canada, Oz, and the UK? These are our most frequently asked questions. And Jen, I don't know if you got any more questions being submitted there, if we have time for it. But people want to know, can you, I'm not in the U.S., I'm in a foreign country. Yes, if you're in Canada, Australia, or United Kingdom, again, we're in 47 countries. I would say almost 50. So as long as they have U.S. mail or the mail or shipping like UPS or any one of these companies, FedEx, yes, you can run labs. And you can run labs. You don't have to be a doctor or a physician. How much do they cost? It varies. It is an investment that your client makes. You don't have to worry about what they cost, really. People could spend a few hundred or up to $1,000 on labs. But, obviously that's going to be an entry barrier for some people, but it's an investment that they're making in their health. And they are dealing directly with the lab. Your clients deal directly with the labs that I set up that relationship for you. How long does the course take? What's the start date? Starts the date you sign up. And it takes you, I'll say 4 to 8 months, 6-month average. The average person right now is taking 6 months, 5.5 to 6 months. We're not going to slow you down, though. It is a self-paced course. If you want to be one of the eager beavers and finish in 3 to 4 months, it's possible. It'd be a lot of work, but if you had, even if you do this, let's say you have a full-time job, you could do this in 6 months. Just doing it in your spare time. How can I run labs legally? Through my umbrella program. Your clients will actually run them direct with the labs through my umbrella programs. We call it a medical director program. So you don't have to worry about your name being on those test results. It won't be on there. Your client will get the results. There's a doctor's name on the ordering physician, but you'll be privy to the information. You'll be giving your clients your holistic interpretation. You will not be diagnosing or treating anything specifically. You're simply identifying the contributors to metabolic chaos and the healing opportunities. Your digestion needs improvement. Your liver needs to filter better. That's not saying you've got hepatitis, or IBS. You will not be diagnosing or treating. You'll be working on everything, like simultaneously. You're just building health. Your program is DRESS, which is not prescribing, and so that's how we do that. We use a third party. And how does it differ from other courses? Well, it's the only one that I teach, for one thing, and I've got 15 years of experience as a non-licensed practitioner with a legitimate research-based approach. So I was frustrated from the way I was taught nutrition was pretty allopathic. In other words, if they have certain problems, you sell them certain supplements and hope for the best. I thought it was crappy, and I got frustrated with that, and I wanted to be the guy who stopped the cycle of trial and error. Once I identified it, once I realized, wow, everybody coming to me has been to 5 or 8 people before. That's the cycle, and I spent years and years and years running thousands of labs on thousands of people, figuring out what works and what doesn't. So the FDN course differs from other courses. It's the only one I teach. You get my experience and my outlook. And there's lots of other things too, like that thing about treating lab tests. I think that's what a lot of them do, is they treat the test results. And that's all I'm going to say about that. And so, this is our special offer for Randi listeners. And the FDN certification course is $39.95 if you can make one payment. That's the best price. We give well over $2,000 worth of bonuses here. And including the mentoring program. That's hours and hours spent with your mentor on your personal health results on practical exercises, doing mock-up clients, and on your first 2 real clients. So we actually mentor you. By the time you graduate, I guarantee you're going to have earned your certificate and earned the privilege to call yourself an FDN and to use our trademarked things that we have, and to use our medical director program to run labs, things like that. You will have earned it. And even the final exam has a practical where you're delivering over the phone, and you'll love doing it. You'll feel very proud of yourself. Lots of other goodies there. If you can make one payment, it's only $39.95, but there are some payment plans available for those of you that maybe don't have that much room on your credit card. You just go to the register button. Matter of fact, I'll just show you that now. 2 things I want to tell you. To register for the course as a friend of Randy's, you go to randydukoff.com/FDN, and you'll see our whole website. You'll see more information about the course. Find the Register Now button, and you'll see the payment option. Go ahead and click on it. Don't be afraid. You'll just, all it has is payment options on it. Register now. Pick one that works for you. Register yourself. Take your spouse's credit card and put it in there, or your mom's. Just kidding. So, you could call me, or you can email info@fdninc.com, and here's your free gift. You guys like the picture of the free gift I put on there?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so this is to create a sense of urgency. We want you to do this now. The free gift is to the first 10 who register only. It's amazing material. It's Google in 10 minutes. It's a step-by-step guide to setting up your own business with Google. All the Google Plus, everything you need to be online, because online presence, they call it, is important. And we'll teach you, we'll give you this free gift that I got from my marketing mastermind guy, and it's just an amazing thing. Did we have something else, Jen? I mean, that's a great value, but is Randy giving you any consultations or anything, like tips on how to do FDN or something like that?
We had the free gift for everybody that shows up today is going to get the step-by-step guide for utilizing YouTube to build your business.
Oh,
And then,
wow.
like
Okay.
you said, for everybody, the first 10 people who sign up for the course, they're going to get, in addition to that, Google in 10 minutes, a step-by-step guide for setting up your business with Google, because for anybody that's on the line, those are the 2 biggest kind of marketing capturing points where you may not be maximizing your business and putting yourself out there. So those are hugely helpful in optimizing your visibility on Google, and using both of those, YouTube and Google Plus, and all the things that Google has to offer, is really how you can increase your market space.
Yes, a lot of people that I talk to about the FDN course, and I do handle a lot of inquiries personally, not all of them, but I try to do as many as possible, and they always say, I've seen your videos on YouTube. So you really need to understand YouTube, and if they're being given that, plus this Google in 10 minutes, I think that's a pretty amazing gift.
And I was also going to do a monthly support group for people going through FDN.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, I like to do private groups, one-on-one coaching. When I say one-on-one, one to small group coaching. For anybody in my network who's taken the class, is interested in corporate wellness, has this desire to go forward, I want to help you be able to bring this into your practice, as a group in corporate, and then also help support you when you want to do it one-on-one, because it's just one more skill that sets you apart from the rest. I can't say enough how much education you will get from going through the FDN certification. And it's not just education on helping your clients, it's education for yourself on the body, understanding the body, and then being able to really take this further and help so many people at once, because it really can change their lives and make them feel better each day, especially as they get older and they're told everything's normal. You can come back and make a difference. So that was what I was going to add in.
Oh, that's just fantastic. So I really appreciate that. The last thing, just so you know, we try to make this a no-risk offer. If you take lesson 1, don't think it's what I said it is. Ask for your money back. It's that simple. Take lesson one, and if you don't like it, if it's not for you, if it's not what I laid it out to be, then you can get your money back. So I'm going to go back to the registration page and say that we do offer that to make it risk free. But you need to go online, you need to register, you need to pick a payment plan that works for you, and you'll get your free gift along with what we've already told you about. So Randi, thank you very much. Sorry about that little glitch we had there, but thank you very much for having me on with your gang. And folks, whether you register for FDN or not, Randi is a real success story. She's someone who we're very happy came along and joined the FDN family. And you can see how she has sprouted and grown wings and is flying high now on just helping people. That's the kind of people that we have found graduate and go off and do well with a lot of the things we taught them.
Thank you.
Hey,
Yep.
we have a few questions that came in.
Yeah, if we have time, I'm here.
I think you covered one of them already. It says, I'm a holistic health coach. Will I be qualified to order these tests after the course? So you kind of covered that already, in that you really don't have to be a licensed practitioner of any kind to get into FDN. If you have a health background, that's always great and helpful, but it's not a requirement.
Mm-hmm.
So with this question, I think the answer is yes, because any FDN can order these lab tests, and that falls under the medical director program, and that's how you're able to do that. Do you have anything that you want to add to that?
No, that's good. The answer is yes. You can run them if you're a nutritionist, personal trainer. You don't have a license. We have people that come from other professions, and what they do is FDN. They become an FDN practitioner. Remember, I developed this as a person from another profession. I was in environmental law. I was a lobbyist in Sacramento, in California. Recycling was huge. Recycling started to die off. The laws at least went away. It just kind of became the way it does business. And the niche that I was in started to go down a little bit, and I wanted to change careers. And I had this book on my coffee table since I was 19 called Healing Ourselves. I give you my word. From the time I was 19, I wanted to be into some kind of a health business, and I finally got into it. And so I've spent since 1998, you do the math, just making this my life's work. But I take that research approach. So I am not a licensed practitioner. I developed a way to do all these things, run the labs, use the protocols, walk people through without being licensed. And so all you have to do is duplicate that. And thousands of people are already.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the answer is yes.
Great. We have another question that says, is this recognized by any professional association involved in holistic nutrition or CAM, C-A-M?
Yeah, complementary alternative medicine. I don't think they know exactly who we are yet. They probably are hearing things because we're doing such good work. But there are some associations that give professional development credits for taking the FDN course. For instance, the NCC-AOM, the National Certification Commission for Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine. We're nationally recognized by that acupuncture body. We're recognized in certain states for chiropractic relicensing credits. We're recognized by Paul Chek for Chek continuing education credits, and some other associations like that. So, we're a grassroots organization. We're growing from the ground up, and I haven't spent a lot of my time. So there's a lot of top-down organizations. In other words, they know who to go and have dinner with and donate to and rub shoulders with and get their course recognized. That I've never done that kind of stuff. I'm not a glad hander. I mean, I love meeting people and I'm friendly, but I'm not a guy to go about a top-down approach like that. Like, go and get your, whatever you have to do. We're doing it from the ground up. So the only other thing I'll add to that is that if you have an association that wants to do a professional development credit approval, we'll fill out the application and send it in, and even pay the fee. So we're approved by some personal training outfits for PDCs and things like that. But that's all I got to say about that.
Okay. One of the questions here is, how much functional medicine or nutrition is actually taught? How does it stack up to the Institute of Functional Nutrition?
Yeah, the Institute of Functional Nutrition is a lot newer. I've been doing this for 8 years, practicing many years before that. From what I know, now I'm trying to keep track of all these different ones, the IFN, and I haven't really looked their stuff over. I know I like all these people. I support them. I encourage them. I know they're trying to do good work. I know that they maybe they're like me. They got their way of doing things, and they just want to help people. And if it's successful, and they're really doing good work, like their protocols work, and they're stopping the cyclotron there, and they're really filling the needs gap, then I'm for them, and I'm for their I would support their training program. I actually cooperate pretty well with a couple of them, because we've just gotten to know each other through the industry. But if they don't stop, I mean, I also have to say, and I'm not saying this about that one or anyone in particular, but there are some sort of courses out there. They treat you how to treat test results, and it sells their supplements a lot. Yeah, run this test, and then here's the protocol. And by the way, buy my products to fix that. So if they're teaching how to treat test results with a particular line of products or brand of products, or God forbid multi-level marketing kind of thing, I'm against it. But if it really helps people, I'm for it, and God bless. And go take that course, and I hope you do really well. And take mine too, because then you'll know even more. But
I've done a little research. Reed, I've done a little research on quite a few of them because people have asked me.
Mm-hmm.
And one big difference I see is, at least let's say Functional Medicine University. It's a very thorough course as well, except it's really geared towards more of a doctor. And so much of what they're giving you is nothing you're ever going to use or are you able to use because of your own background, licenses, and accreditations.
Those are smart people, and it's taught by medical doctors, and it's a lot of medical jargon that will be over your head, and for the most part.
From having taken your class and really looked into a lot of them, because I get the question all the time, a huge difference is what you do. You can bring it to the regular everyday client, and as you said, you don't have to have a certain background.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to have a certain background. You can bring it to the client. You can bring it to the corporate environment, and it's understandable. It's something that you can really grasp, and it's going to move you forward in your ability to help people, charge people, and in what people will recognize you for. That would be what I would say for that.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think that kind of goes into the next question here is, it says, this question is that I have the impression that mail order online medical education is not what would make a good clinician. How much do you include about reading the body, which really needs to be taught in person? Is this not, how are you in order to really form an impression about somebody? And I can, as a practitioner myself, I can answer this a little bit in that through the course, Reed does teach you how to form an impression about somebody. And I do all of my health coaching over the phone. I don't actually ever meet with really anybody in person. It gives me the flexibility and the freedom to run my business no matter where I am in the world because I travel a lot. But it's very easy to form an impression about somebody over the phone, the way that they talk about themselves, the way that they, talk about their foods. And it's amazing how clients will open up to you after the results review session. Once you go through their initial lab results and give your recommendations, I've had clients that open up and start telling me more because they're starting to connect the dots. Like a lady that I just had who was estrogen dominant on her labs was like, oh my gosh, that's why I've been having hot flashes at night. And she's been taking herbs from an acupuncturist when she never told me that before. So that's how you start to form your impression about somebody, and also with their responses to the questions and how compliant they are. And you start to understand what they're dealing with internally as a person, psychologically and physically. So I understand that there's a lot of other functional medicine therapies out there, practices like acupuncture and things like that, where Chinese medicine, you're looking at the tongue for different colors and complexion of their skin, and all of that's great feedback, but FDN really teaches you how to do the basics. You're always going to focus on diet and exercise and rest and stress reduction and proper supplementation to support the body, and that's going to help to alleviate anything that they really have going on. So I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Just amen, sister. And we had two people sign up already. I want to say thank you to Vivian and to Mark. So good job, guys. And what other questions did we have?
I think that's it. The rest of these, you kind of covered like the different types of tests on here, cost, time frames. So,
Yeah.
you know, if anybody has any additional questions, you guys should have all received the email and the invitation for the webinar. You can send your questions to either marketing admin at fdnselfcare.com, or you can send those to info at fdninc.com, and those actually come straight to me. I can help you out with any other questions that you have. If you're on the fence about this or not sure if it's a right fit for you, then we also want to make sure that you get that personal touch and answering any of your specific questions one-on-one, so we can help you with that.
And Rita, can you make is there going to be a link for people that were not able to get on live but signed up for the replay?
Yeah, I'm gonna just edit the recording down,
Okay.
take out that little green screen thing that happened, and then I'll give you a link to that so you can send out the link in your emails.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And thank you for having us on. We'll sign off. I know it's getting late on the East Coast. Still nice and bright and sunny out here in California. I'm going to go outside and enjoy a little bit of it, work in my garden for a while. So thank you so much, everybody. Really appreciate you being here. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Randy. And we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you, Rita and Jen, and thank you for everybody for tuning in.